stated was user experience. And we didn't know why it happened, but because we got a project and we needed to migrate data from Apogee to another system, we had to look at the data model. And you have here in the handout this data model, so you can look at it and see that sometimes it's overly complicated, and the only explanation the client, they want to accommodate the client needs. And while they're accommodating the client needs, they're adding more and more features on the platform. So every user, every company that comes to the platform, they see a variety of features, and they ask, what features should we use to utilize it? And I'm sorry that I mentioned SharePoint. Because the SharePoint has the same problem. So we have so many features, how you decide what features you're going to use. So, and this overload of data model led to poor user experience on the portal. They cannot make it prettier on the portal because the data model was overly complicated. Any questions on this part? Okay. And then, as I mentioned, the users on this API management platforms were not unified with other users in the company. And the company had the family of the products, maybe up to 15 different types of the products. So it was good for them to see the preferences and cross-selling opportunities, and they couldn't do that. But as I mentioned, it wasn't an issue with the platform, it was an issue with the current system and on the client side. So now, what happened is we got a project with a identity system last quarter 2014, and after a few months of engagement, they saw a big chance to have a new user management system in place live soon, and they picked the first product to be integrated was API management system. And they knew they need to cut these costs on API management system, and they knew we were the company that gave birth to Epiphany that got acquired to Microsoft. So they saw the opportunity to ask us to do migration and do the integration part. So at the end of 2014, we started the discovery phase, look at the Apogee, and then perform the migration. And for these purposes, I oversimplified the phases of the project and I split in 3 phases, which is distinct one: migration, then integration, and finally monetization. But in reality of these actions, sometimes we're overlapping. So, for example, the migration part, the final part was completed in August. Initial was here. So we dropped Apogee at the beginning of the year, but the last step was in August. The integration part, pretty much the same. EM was developing more and more features, and we were adding more and more integration parts between the identity management system and the API management system. Okay, so now let's see what we got on migration part. So we start with the migration, and now it's yellow background, so we got some problem. So the first problem was, when you have your developers, you want to have your authentication mechanism in place, right? You secure your data, you secure your API. So in Apogee, they use oath to get access, to grant access to developers, and they absolutely manage the secret keys, right? So when you move over to Azure API Management, you have different authentication mechanisms that have oath for the developers. They use keys in the HTTP header. And one of the main requirement from Earthlers was, we want to keep all the apps running the same way as before. So none of the developers will notice the switch from old system to a new one, right? So how do you resolve that? So we come up with a solution. And you can see that solution in your handout too, because it's really small font and it's architecture. So it's the second page. We discovered that during the discovery. So it was not a big surprise for us. And customer decided to have set of proxies. The first proxy, the problem that I described was first proxy. And they want to have a proxy before upfront API management to emulate auth flow, as well to have a mapping between all keys and new keys that we had in the new platform. And you might wonder why we have second proxy is this different requirement because of the communication, how they want to have communication for the back-end Pulse API gateway. So this architecture was not something that Microsoft agreed to execute. I asked them and they were saying it's horrible. We cannot predict latency because they claim 2 small digit latency between their client and your gateway. But because we have 2 proxies in the middle, how you can predict how long it's going to take to get the response? So we came up with a solution. We said to the customer, we'll just do shared responsibility. You build your proxy, we cannot guarantee latency, and we will execute the project. And saying, okay, we agree. So we started the project, they built out a proxy, and we were responsible for migration of the objects. Any questions on this part? Okay. So at the end of the year, just after 3 months Azure API was on public release in Azure, we completed the initial step of a migration. And then we got 4,200 developers, 2,400 subscriptions, and 14 API products are set up on the platform. So all users did not see any differences, but they were on a different platform. So in the end of the year, APG contract got expired. They, arithmeters gained from having this system earlier on, and they were happy. And after that, we definitely knew before that they want to have integration with our identity management system. So the problem, the need of the customer were to have unified storage, so you can see a developer that I can sell another services, not only Pulse API products, but different offerings I have. So, but out of the box, any Azure, any API management system allows you to have your users and subscription inside the system. Specifically for Azure API management system, you have ability to delegate that over to your internal system. And we did so. And in your handout, if you're curious how that performs, you see the architecture of that. But basically, what we have done, it was every time you hit the site of Azure API Management for Earth Networks, it's going to redirect you to our own custom login page and our own identity management system for authentication as well as for authorization if the user has a subscription to API product. Any questions? I think I'm losing people. And then we done with the integration. So we integrated with our internal system of users and subscriptions. And so what happened next? Now we cut our spending. We want to get more money. And this is really great feature for other API management systems. If you experience any API management system, you know that majority of them have built-in payment system, but it's not for Azure API management. So I think it's really important to know that. So you have your discovery project and you're thinking what API management system should customer have. We should clearly state that you need to spend more time and effort if you want to charge for your open API. And by May 2014, is still Microsoft not really sure if they want to include the built-in payment system. But interestingly enough, in retrospective, the product owner was really pleased that Azure API Management System does not have a built-in system, because he wanted to have the custom flow of the communication, of the pricing models. And they want to have it flexible and easy to manage, and not so costly. And he knows that he spent more money on Apogee and Matchery because they charge a lot, because they have built-in payment system. Okay, so how we did that, how we monetized the Open API for WeatherBug. So you can see this diagram in your handout too. The problem with, so he came up with a solution to have PayPal, basically, right? And we did that part. Gleb is here. So Gleb done that part with PayPal. But the problem that we had with this architecture, they wanted to have a early separation of functionality. They want to have PayPal integration being independent from payment system inside their the domains. And we asked that multiple times, why you want to have that? You want to have a real use case for that. And they